Hey guys, today we're going to cover section 7-1, understanding likelihood and probability. Okay, so this is the first part of this chapter. So basically we're going to outline what is probability and all the basic points. So let's start with example 1. Using probability to describe chance. So first question, Alyssa and Sherry spin the pointer, the one at the right, and record the color that it lands on. The table below shows the results after 100 spins. Now our question is, how can Alyssa and Sherry explain their results? So let's first look at the spinner. It's got 4 spaces, blue, red, yellow, and green. And if we look at the table, we see those colors on the left and the frequency on the right. So the frequency just means how often did that spinner land on the color. So for red, it landed on it 23 times, yellow 24, green 27, and blue 26. So basically they spun 100 times, and those are the amount of times it landed on those colors. So let's kind of break down what we're looking at so we can really diagnose what is probability, and especially the probability of the spinner. So there are 4 possible results or outcomes when we spin the spinner. So I'm going to highlight this. 4 possible results or outcomes when they spin that spinner. Outcome number 1, spinner lands in this red section. Outcome number 2, yellow section, 3 green, 4 blue. So an outcome is a result. When you spin this spinner, you can land in one of 4 places. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, one of 4 spots. So what we can say just based on that is the following. Each of the 4 outcomes is equally likely. Now, why would they be equally likely? Because all these little sections are the same size. It's cut into fourths, right? So they have an equal chance of occurring. So that's key, equal chance of landing on any of the 4 sections. So that's the first thing we can diagnose. Now we go on. Each time we spin that spinner, the likelihood or probability of the pointer landing on red, yellow, green, or blue is the same. Now why can we say that? Because all the sections are the same size. So their probability of landing on each one is the same. So now let's look at this further. Each of these equal size sections is one of the 4 different colors. So the probability of the pointer landing on any given color is 1 out of 4. So landing on blue, 1 out of 4. 1 blue space, 4 total spaces. Or we can use a fraction, 1/4. Now we can also use percents. We can say there is a 25% chance of landing on any color. 1 out of 4, 1 divided by 4 is 0.25. 0.25 as a percent is 25%. So we can say 25%. So this last thing we're going to say about this spinner is this. The pointer should land on each color about 1 out of 4 times, or around 25 times out of 100 spins. So let's go look up that table again. So that we should see numbers around 25, 23, 24, 27, 26. They're all around 25. Boom, there we go. 1 out of 4 chance. So you have around 25%. You're going to land on each space, which is what we're looking at. Okay, let's go to the next page. Oh, before that, we got to look at some vocab. Okay, each space in that spinner represents an outcome. So that's our first vocab word, outcome. Okay, an outcome represents a possible result of doing something. So there's our definition. An outcome represents a possible result of doing something. And that something in this case is spinning a spinner. Next one. The likelihood of something happening is called the probability. So likelihood of something happening is called probability. How likely is something to occur? How probable is it? So as we've stated, the probability of landing on any one of those colors is 1 out of 4, or 25%. So outcomes and probabilities. Every probability has some outcomes. We think of the weather. Oh, what's an outcome? Rain, sun, snow, sleet, a hurricane, a tornado. Those are all possible outcomes. Okay, next page. So now we're going to look at a dice. It says we're going to use probability and likelihood. It says Carrie will roll a dice or a number cube with sides labeled 1 through 6. So we've all rolled the dice before. They're labeled 1 through 6. So we just want to answer some questions about what is the probability of different outcomes. Okay, so what's the probability that she will roll a 2? So this is an outcome. Well, I think we all know how many sides on a dice have a number 2 on them, just 1. So we can say only 1 out of 6 total sides is 2. So the probability is 1 out of 6, or 1/6. Boom, that's our answer. What's the probability? 1 out of 6, or 1/6. Next one, what is the probability that she will roll a number less than 7? So that's another outcome. Well, it's a dice, right? 1, 2, 6. Aren't all those numbers less than 7? So that should be easy for us. So what we would say is this. All 6 numbers on the cube are less than 7. So it is certain that she will roll a number less than 7. The probability is 6 out of 6, or 1. Now this 1 is weird. What we'd say basically is 1 is 100%. 100 times out of 100. Can we roll the dice and get a number less than 7? All right, last one here. What is the probability that she'll roll a number greater than 6? So another outcome. Well, it's a dice. 1, 2, 6. Are any of the numbers greater than 6? Nope. So easy answer for this one. We would say none of the 6 numbers on the cube is greater than 6. So it is impossible to roll a number greater than 6. The probability is 0 out of 6, or 0, or 0% is another way you could say that. Okay, last example here. Using probability to examine fairness. So we're going to think about, is something fair, right? Do I have a fair chance of getting all of these different outcomes? So it says Marisol designed a spinner for a game. The spinner is fair if there's an equal chance for the pointer to land on each number. So our question, is this spinner a fair spinner? So let's look at our spinner on the right. We've got an A. Oh, we got 2 A's, don't we? We've got a B. I've got a C. I've got a D, and then an E right there. Well, what's the first thing we notice? We notice 2 A's. So the probability of the pointer landing on A is 2 out of 6. And 2 out of 6 is the same thing as 1 out of 3, or 1/3. So you have a 1 out of 3 chance of landing on A. So for this to be a fair spinner, you've got to have a 1 out of 3 chance of landing on B, C, and D, and E. Well, we go on. The probability of landing on B is 1 out of 6, or 1/6. So already we know this isn't a fair spinner. The same thing goes with C, D, and E, 1 out of 6. So like we said, they all have to be the same, an equal chance. So we can say it is more likely that the pointer will land on A than any other number. So this is not, N-O-T, not a fair spinner. Okay, they all have to be the same. They all have to have the same number of spaces. Okay, so in review here on the back, probability is the likelihood that something will occur. And we use values 0 to 1. Basically, the closer something is to 0, the more unlikely it is to happen. The closer it is to 1, the more likely it's going to happen. Okay, so we just have some little words here we're going to go over. So basically, this says a probability of rolling a 7 is 0 out of 6. So we'd say that's impossible. You can't roll a 7 on a 1, 2, 6 dice. Well, this one on the far right says, well, rolling a number less than 7. Well, all the numbers are less than 7, so it's certain, right? If there's no chance, it's impossible. If there's a 100% chance, we say it's certain. Now, when we look in between, if it's closer to 0, we'd say unlikely. If it's closer to 1, we say likely, right? So if there's, say, a 2 out of 10 chance, oh, that's unlikely. If there's an 8 out of 10 chance, then we say that is likely. So 2 big words today, right? Probability, what's the likelihood of something happening, and what are the different outcomes when we do something, okay?